Hello, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summer presentation of the StarLadder I-League 13 Chinese Playoff Final. Here we have the Wings Gaming versus CDEC Youth. It is going to be the lower bracket final, which in turn will decide the final spot for China Division's qualifiers here to go to the LAN in Minsk. So the first two slots ended up going to eHome as well as LGD. They both took their semifinal round in the upper bracket, which completely finished their run in the tournament. They qualified for the event, but there is this one last slot to be decided, and it's going to come down to this match. This one best of three to decide it all. It's been a nice little road here, seeing all these Chinese teams participate. Some great strategies coming into play, but now we see everything conclude here as we go into the draft for game number one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, I myself am Blaze, and I'm joined by Hades. Hades, how are you feeling about this match?
Radiant team pick.
Gaming and CDEC Youth. So far throughout the Chinese qualifiers, I feel that these two teams are the most versatile when it comes to draft and play styles. Like, I mean, we saw Wings earlier on. They pretty much, you can tell that they did their research on their opponents because they knew exactly how to play around it. But this probably won't be the case against CDEC Youth because in Flame he's just so flexible when it comes to heroes. There's just no way to ban out all his heroes, as we have seen over the past few days.
Yeah, and now we're going to be seeing a very interesting opener here. Doom and Dazzle coming out from CDEC Youth to respond to the Shadow Fiend, and the Ancient Apparition actually picked up in response to those, since both are very heal dependent. Either heal over time from the Scourged Earth, or of course the Shadow Wave. Ancient Apparition has ways of pretty much guaranteeing that a grave target will be shattering as soon as that expires, especially once the Aghanims is online. But that's a little bit later down the road. For now, I'm a little bit worried about their laning phase. Shadow Fiend and AA are both pretty vulnerable, pretty squishy, and don't get the opportunity to bully much, especially in the case of Chilling Touch being on cooldown. So I'm going to be looking for a couple of lane controllers from them so the Wings Gaming can put their best foot forward and make sure that they don't lose the early game disadvantage. Interestingly enough, Slardar didn't get picked up, despite that being really good for a Shadow Fiend lineup. Even the Winter Wyvern is a great hero for that, and we're not seeing him either. So those two heroes, still big ones to look for as we go through the second phase.
Reserve time.
I think PL would probably band out just because Dazzle and PL, these two heroes, they go very well together, and it's usually a combo you see from the Chinese teams. But Wings Gaming may look to take something out. Like you mentioned, Slada is still in the pool, and I think Wings is probably deciding either between the Slada or the Winter Wyvern. Because if you let CDEC get the Dazzle and Winter Wyvern, that's going to be so... it's going to have a huge impact on the game, the way there's just so many heals, despite having the Ancient Apparition, and that's going to put him under a lot of stress. But laning-wise, I think Wings Gaming, they just need someone with at least a bit of reliable lockdown for now.
Alright, but it's not going to be coming from the Wraith King here. Well, that's one of the better heroes to accompany the AA Shadow Fiend, with the potential to just lock down a target, single target, and to set up the cold feet, as along with the fact that he's just, like we talked about before, economically sound with the SF. The Wraith King pursues that single target avenue, just building him up through Midas, and Shadow Fiend's the one who gets to flash from the map. And Wraith King's also really strong against Doom, because there's really little point in doing him if you can't burn his mana as well. He's going to come back just that much stronger. So I think it's a smart ban. It also set Wings Gaming a little bit off balance, because they probably were looking for that as their first pick in Phase 2. And now it's going to be taken off the table along with the Slardar. We also see that Spirit Breaker, Wind Ranger ban out. If those were heroes Inflame was looking for, then that would be problematic, but I feel like Inflame has so much versatility that he's not going to be relying on just one pick. I mean, TA's still a great hero in the pool, up against the Shadow Fiend. Ember Spirit has his own values here, and then of course we've seen some great kind of pocket picks coming in from Inflame, which they usually save to their last pick.
Kind of curious to see what kind of picks he will, because usually Inflame, I noticed that they tend to hold his hero last, just so that he usually dominates the mid very comfortably, and having just one support there cements that advantage for sure in the mid lane. Well, they're not so concerned with the side lanes because they have plenty of faith in Flame to always, open up space around the map for them. So at the same time, I mean, Wings Gaming, You see, they're comfortable letting the Winter Wyvern go through because they know it's unlikely that CDEC will pick that up. But at the same time, probably because they have, two ranged heroes, they're not afraid to go for more.
Dire team pick.
And CDEC meanwhile is picking up the Ember Spirit.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is definitely not In Flames here.
No, but even if Ame picks it up, it still brings a lot of value, and I feel like it actually is really strong with the draft so far. I mean, obviously, being able to nullify a lot of the magical damage coming in from SFAA, and just relying on the Shallow Grave, he can really sync up very well with the Dazzle. He also has a little bit of control the Dazzle's lacking with the Searing Chains that might allow them to pick up a couple of key heroes. But, of course, because they did leave the Wyvern in the pool, that's going to be picked up very quickly by Wings Gaming. The ultimate, Winter's Curse is just so good at locking down the Ember Spirit, and he's going to be relying on Doom and Skywrath's Silences to try to keep this Ember Spirit mobile, keep him active, and make sure that he doesn't get locked down too hard. Still, the Dazzle's a decent answer to the Wyvern, at least just graving the target that's under fire, and maybe if they can heal it back up, all the better. Juggernaut is going to be the pickup, though, for Wings Gaming. Not the best versus Skywrath, obviously subject to silence, but if he can close in and get his spells off, he's obviously one of the best heroes to contribute to a big fight.
CDEC Youth, I mean, the Scarif Mage is always good against the Winter Wyvern, just because, the Cold Embrace pretty much sets you up for the Mystic Flare. And in this case, I mean, I'm not surprised if Inflame decides to try something a bit more funky, like picking up a Timbersaw, purely because of the magic damage, and that can actually wreck Wings Gaming quite hard, especially against the Shadow Fiend. I mean, yeah, his lane's gonna be hard, but if they put like Dazzle with him or the Scarif Mage with him in the mid, it should be a pretty decent lane, and he will still get decent farm. But I mean, we'll just have to see what these final bans are. It's probably going to be like an off-laning hero, say like the Bristleback, the Darkseer, these heroes are still in the pool, or even the Clockwork.
Yeah, I mean, Clockwork definitely has some soundness here. Blade Mail, obviously really good against the Skywrath Mage, and you can just poke on him and make sure that he goes down one way or another. But yeah, you can still kind of go a few different routes. They're afraid of the Darkseer here. Just somebody that they can't really harass in the laning phase. Skywrath is great at zoning and poking and prodding with the Arcane Bolt, but the Darkseer is always going to be keeping his distance, just ion shelling the waves. So they don't want to deal with that, and don't want the Ember Spirit frustrated by it. They're going to go ahead and take it off the table. The offlane pool is still pretty wide open, though. There's still a lot of key offlane heroes that can be picked up, though there have been still just as many banned. I mean, you can arguably say that like 5 of the heroes, if not 6, in the pool so far are offlane bans, and yet I still feel like there's still a lot of good options for either side. Doom right now, though, in the offlane, that would leave mid open for CDEC Youth, and they probably want to do something that emphasizes magical damage output, since they already have something that amplifies that with the Skywrath. Though, of course, that's only good until SF picks up a BKB. Since Juggernaut already has the spin and the Omni, it's going to be that BKB timing for SF that really makes or breaks that kind of a draft. They've only got a few seconds to think about it, though, and they're going to be tapping into that pretty handily here as they make their final call, and it is going to be a Flames Invoker. And Nyx immediately, they expected it.
Alright, so Wings... Yeah, I guess they definitely did their homework at Inflame. This is a nice pick, Invoker, but yeah, it's probably going to be the same thing where he goes for like the first point, the Exort, just for last hitting, and then he goes into the Quas Wex. I don't see a Quas Exort Invoker coming into play, just because it takes too long to come online. But Nyx is a pretty decent pick, just because of, you got the Spike Carapace to always screw things up a bit. You put the Mana Burn, it's going to help against the Scarif Mage, and with a Blink, the Nyx Assassin is going to be very, very... I mean, if he lands a few good stuns, why not? It's great.
Definitely. So, just looking at Inflame's Invoker, in the last 3 months, he's played Invoker 23 times with a 56% win rate, doing pretty well, and like you said, very consistently going for the single Exort for Alacrity and last hitting, and then otherwise relying pretty handily on the Quas Wex build up there. So, a little bit of Tri-Orb action never hurt anybody, and obviously gives them a lot of options to sling out, but beyond feels pretty confident in this Nyx Assassin. It's a decent counter to just heavy burst damage dealers and heroes that rely heavily on intelligence, and you got about 2 or 3 of those in the Radiant draft, so pretty solid, bringing a lot of good control, and I feel like skirmishing is going to be pretty strong from Wings. It's going to be CDEC that have to out-execute, and already out-executing on the wards by getting a lane sentry down.
And he gets 1 soul.
Oh yeah, that too. Can't get it out, plus 2 damage. Going to be very nice. And they put on that central sentry that we saw in their previous
30
match.
seconds to battle.
Alright, so from this, CDEC is probably going to dodge this bottom rune, and they'll just take the easy rune at the top lane, make things a bit easier. June will probably, I mean, if he doesn't run into any trouble, he's going to wait till 30 seconds, get a nice, creep from the jungle before going back to the lane, so that at least he sustains a bit more. Maybe find a Seda regeneration aura, that's always nice. And yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see how Inflame will do this game. I mean, if he does play the Quas Exort Invoker, it's not out of the question. If you can combo it pretty well with the Mystic Flare and the Searing Chains, it's actually an instant kill on anybody here.
Yeah. Isn't it a bit of overkill, though? If you've got Mystic Flare Searing Chains on somebody, I would say that they're already pretty much dead. Especially if you have some Ancient Seal to amp that up. So, I mean, obviously the Sunstruck's great, but it seems unnecessary when you're probably more worried about, like, just surviving through the 5-ban initiation from Wings. I'm not sure.
It's all the same.
Okay, I mean, 5-man initiation, it's really rare, but... Okay, actually I like this Dazzle mid. It makes sense why they would ban out the Darkseer right now, because it secures the bottom lane farm, but they definitely want to pressure Army again. This feels like deja vu. It feels like the exact same situation back in the previous best of 3, where CDEC Youth, and when you put Army on Ember Spirit, and looks like, yeah, they just have to hope that Inflame does his job and provides space.
Yep, already has the Exhort Wax available, so he's going to be going for Alacrity at level 3, and that's going to give him all the lasting potential he needs to just trump this Shadow Fiend. So Dazzle might stick around for one more level, depends on if he feels he needs it. Stacks obviously can be beneficial too, as you will be able to cast Meteor, although it's not that great with the shorter range on Deafening Blast and Meteor.
Oh, top lane June and Faith just having a few trades.
Yeah,
actually,
this is a
both
top
ones will
lane.
have
Like, as much as they're getting something done in the bottom, like, the top lane is horrible for Nyx.
Oh, he almost tried for the first blood.
Alright, real quick, I'm having, once again, some perfect world lag. This is just the way the Western world, or even in the case of Singapore, connects to the Chinese servers through their firewalls. So I'm going to have to go ahead and reconnect out, and hopefully you can give me a radio broadcast of what's going on.
Problem over here bottom lane. Oh, she tries for the chains, but Shadow's just gonna Blade Fury away. And Demon's actually falling really low. Icy's being forced to the bottom lane just because, Wings, they're being so aggressive. And Army's not really getting anything out of this lane. Last hits wise, he's actually 0-0 compared to the Juggernaut, who's already at 10-4. Top of the last hit chart. And Demons is just going to try and spam these arcane bolts, trying to bring the supports low, but Innocence has a salve, he will be fine. Inflame picking up a double damage with this Wex Exort early on, he's going to be lasting very, very easily, and he actually may be able to zone the Shadow Fiend out of the lane. Top lane, however, Faith actually may be able to get first blood here on June, but during the score stuff, he will just regenerate up. He actually has brought down really close to like 80 HP. That's as close as you can get.
Yeah, I'm just like I want to reconnect, but at the same time, the lags is kind of on and off, and I'm really worried that I'm gonna miss a kill. So I guess we'll hang around for a little bit longer and see how it plays out. Right now, Icy's gonna take some damage from the Arctic Burn, but overall, this is a wasted Arctic Burn. A long cooldown here, 50 seconds. So I would say that CDEC can start kind of pressing back. Magic Stick on the 2 supports, so at least the Arcane Bolt spam is being countered out a little bit, but all the same, at least Ame's kind of gotten some space here, and he's starting to build up his first set of last hits.
Oh, middle lane, Inflame, maybe be getting first blood here on the Shadow Fiend. No, he needs one more click. No, he's not going to get it. The double damage rune actually helped him catch up to the Shadow Fiend, and I think we might see some action. Yep, Demons is going to get first blood here in Innocence, and Blade Fury actually going to kill off Icy, who uses the Grave, bringing him all the way to the tower. He will just give up, not overextending, as Ami has Searing Chains, will use it now. Without the Blade Fury, no mana, no regeneration, no stick whatsoever. Shadow's still alive, but Demon's actually going to fall to the Winter Wyvern. So Winter Wyvern's going to find himself a nice kill. It's going to be a 2-for-0 trade as Ami getting very low. The Arctic Burn is bringing him very, very... Yep, he's being forced to pop the cell. Oh wait, no, sorry, that wasn't the Winter Wyvern, but still. Pretty nice, 1-for-1 overall.
Yep, June gonna be diving a little bit under Beyond here.
Oh,
actually, Dazzle's suicides to the neutrals, but Beyond's still under some pressure here. Actually gonna be run down by the Scorched Earth. It's finally expired, but he's just looking to close in and try to finish him off. Meanwhile, down bottom, they're diving the tower with the spin. Ame dropping very low, but not down just yet, and Demons will actually turn it onto Shadow. Very nicely there. Ice now silenced, taking some major hits. No Shadow Wave heal actually available, but it's still gonna be one more right click to finish off the Wyvern. What are you doing, Ancient Apparition? Just diving in. Oh my gosh, what just happened? He goes in, the healing salve helps Demon out, and suddenly they just feed everything away.
Disaster. I don't think that was a smart decision in any universe. I'm not sure why he just decided to dive all the way in. It was so greedy.
Yeah, with no
And he
spell
did
or
what-
anything. Like, it's just completely out of mana.
Yeah, he just sacrificed himself away.
Alright. We'll try for the reconnect now. It looks like most of the action is dissipated. By the way, Doom did go down after that tower dive play up on top. Nyx kind of outplayed him there, kept his distance, and just waited for his opportunity. So, yeah, Doom getting a little overzealous in a lane that he shouldn't be losing.
And this is actually really huge because right now Nyx is level 6 compared to the Doom who's still level 5. Nyx is probably going to roam to lane, and if he can, I think he might actually roam mid just because Inflame has... Yeah, he doesn't look like he has Ghost Walk skilled up just yet. Yeah, he's waiting mid.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the Ghost Walk is available, but it just comes down to the Invoke. And right now he's going to be keeping on level 1 for some time.
Yep, so Faith is just being very, very patient. Still has quite a bit of time left on his Vendetta. But Inflame, oh, they're going for the stun and the double raise. They will kill Inflame just like that. And Shadow Fiend, easy kill here. So now he pulls ahead. A bit more at least, yeah. He's ahead of net worth despite being behind in terms of last hits.
And that's going to set back the experience progression from Inflame quite a bit there. Invoker very experienced.
What about the river? Ice, the Searing Chains, and the Flame Guard is on. But here comes the SF. Oh, burns away the Flame Guard, and the Doom's gonna be on Vicky. June's gonna scorch them down. Hopefully they find a kill here. They're definitely gonna get Ice. Oh, the Grave keeping June alive. He's gonna get a double kill. And the race not even gonna matter. He's gonna try and deny himself to Roshan. Bang! Yep, he's already bought his items anyways. So that was a pretty good fight. Nice 673 gold swing going the way of CDEC.
Yeah, I knew this was going to be a bad game to disconnect, and these teams are just poised to take so many fights early, and it's going to be very back and forth. But unfortunately, I have to do it. I'll try at least once to resolve the technical issues. There's only so much we can do. Sometimes reconnecting helps. Sometimes restarting Dota helps. All in all, it's still pretty well out of our hands. So reconnecting in, guys. Sorry, we did miss that exchange, but overall, what is your take on the current state of the game? Who's got a bit of an advantage?
I would say CDEC, because after giving away all 3 heroes at the bottom lane, they just died for Wings. The aggressive lane it just backfired them so hard, and now, I mean, Faith has his hands full trying to, create space for his team. You can see right here at the bottom lane, he's gonna go on Vicky, gets the stun and the mana burn. Icy's actually gonna fall. He's gonna be a solo kill for the Nyx Assassin, so already doing work on getting to level 7. Hero levels, he's almost there. Doom has... Well, he needs a bit more. He's going for that jumps. And Juggernaut's quite behind in terms of farm actually. It's just a Phase Boots and a Ring of Basilius compared to Ame, who now has the bottle. So he's going for that Boots to Travel bottle build, and he's always going to be everywhere.
Alrighty, so pretty active here. Current KDA 2-1-4 for the Skywrath, but 2-1-1 for the Nyx. He's really the one that's shouldering a lot of the burden here and doing the best he can. He's going to have to really still get a lot out of early items though if he wants to keep doing these kinds of things, because eventually the supports are going to have plenty of sentries and observers to scout out these Vendetta plays, and at that point he's got to have a Blink Dagger or perhaps an Aghanim Scepter. Ideally he'll get both by the mid game, like 25-35 minutes into the game, but yeah, he's definitely going to have to build himself up and focus on farming as well as slaying.
So now, I mean, Doom, he's just about to smoke. He wants to use that Doom again. Hopefully find a kill. I heard a Sunstrike.
Yeah, there's a Sunstriking award. It's pretty silly, but they didn't actually have any way to get vision otherwise, so they go ahead and just tango it, and that works out.
Alright, so for now, Ancient Apparition gets a bit of solo time here. Almost in level 4. Inflame is actually doing very well in lane. He's got the Lackady back on with the Cold Snap. If he wants, I think he can actually get a kill on the Shadow Fiend. I mean, you see Doom, they're smoked up.
Yeah, as soon as concussive hits, he's dead. They don't even need to do the Doom, but they'll do it just to be sure. And that'll be a quick and easy kill, with Dazzle actually picking up the last hit. I'm not sure if that was necessary, but there you go.
Giving kills to your cores now is too mainstream. The supports need to go more. Wards, I mean, the wards are expensive.
Yeah, sentries are huge here, so I can't deny it, but at the same time, it definitely isn't the most common practice.
Dire's structures are fortified.
And they actually put a ward, a very aggressive ward, which blocks up the camp. They're gonna try and defend this T1. The creep wave is already here.
It looks like it's going down. Deny is pretty ambitious, honestly, and it's going to go to the Radiant as proper. We do see Nyx TPing in, but so delayed that he doesn't seem to be able to get anything accomplished here. And yeah, they're just going to walk away from that one. So, Obs on the Western hard camp. There's not really any there's not stacking going on, so that's going to be farmed up once, and then it's going to be very clear that that's blocked and going to be dewarded. I'm not sure if it's, even though they were just kind of casually strolling to the jungle, denying exactly one stack is probably not the most useful way of really committing an observer at this stage in the game, in my mind.
Indeed, and actually here bottom lane, Army is probably gonna fall. Yep, Flame got procced by the Spike Carapace, and they do get the kill just in the nick of time. It's actually a level 2 Spike Carapace, so that's why he was killed. He hasn't gone for the max out mana burn, so that's just one way of getting the kill.
Yeah, mana burn will come later, but Spike Carapace ranking is actually very underrated. Getting that, I mean, it doubles the stun duration at level 1, and then obviously the cooldown reduction brings it to a very spammable state, where he can use it twice a fight most likely. And then of course it'll be great when he gets eventually in Ags, but for now, AA is just trying to get solo experience up top. Could be under fire pretty soon. I mean, he's just trying to get his 6, but if they catch wind of his positioning, they can easily go for a tower dive, and Wings aren't really in a position to punish it now that they've used their Omni Slash.
Tower is under attack.
The Juggernaut doesn't really have any space to farm right now. The middle lane is definitely going to be taken usually by the Shadow Fiend and the jungle, and he only has the bottom lane to farm because right now all of CDEC except Army at the top lane. So they're going to take this tower so that they have access to the dire side jungle, and this way Juggernaut's spaces for farm is just really very limited. Wings, their resources are just being taken away from them so aggressively by CDEC.
Alright, so that's going to be the tier 1 going down up top. 4-man movement to make that happen. And I'm seeing a lot of other casters reconnecting to the game, so I don't feel as bad, but man, just an unfortunate issue with these games. I've been clear up ever since I reconnected, at least, so that's nice. We're actually going to be seeing a nice preemptive gameplay down bottom. They see the Remnant right here for the Ember Spirit. He's like, oh, he wants to farm the creep wave. Well, if you do, you're going to be nixed very quickly, because they're just waiting Vendetta, and yeah, it just comes down to whether or not Ami takes the bait after he finishes this range creep.
Very unlikely, seeing as they're moving more heroes to the bottom lane now. And I mean, they do have an Observer Ward, which spotted out like the movement to the bottom lane. So they're probably just going to defend the top T1, sorry, top T2.
Radiant's bottom tower is
So
under
they've
attack.
got Doom back online for CDEC. Right now, Inflame's looking really good at top net worth, but as far as tower sieging, they're taking it pretty slowly, so Wings might have their opportunity here with their first Winter's Curse of the game. Probably need to put it out on the Invoker, just because he's the most slippery one with Tornado and Ghost Walk. But at least for now, we're actually going to see the Sentry Ward come down. It looks like they find just the Observer, but it's not like that Sentry Ward is all that important without the Observer on attached to it.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Pinging it out. I mean, if they were looking at the Observer Ward, which I highly doubt they were, they could have seen the Ice Vortex, and that would meant, you know, they would have known that Wings was smoked out. But nonetheless, they back off because Wings decided, like, okay, fine, they're just gonna just deward. Army back to farming. Definitely gonna be the BOT. It's 1,300 gold, unless he decides to turn around for the drums. And Faye, he's actually decently close to Blink.
Yeah, once you have the bottle as well as the Ring of Aquila, you really solve your mana issues, so the drum seems like it's unnecessary when the Doom already has one. Just really the BOT is going to be the highest priority for him. And Orchid for Inflame, he doesn't go for the Midas at all, just goes straight up to... It goes only Urn of Shadows and then goes straight into the Orchid, so a very fight-oriented build coming in from the Invoker. Oh, top?
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that should be a detonation apparition. Gets caught in the chains and silenced, so he can't even get any damage in return.
Radiant's bottom
Yeah, I mean,
tower
usually
is
as a
under
cross-wax Invoker, you don't
Radiant
go
structures
for
are fortified.
Midas. It's always going to be the Orchid and Urn Rush. I think you only go for Midas like on a cross Exort Invoker.
That used to be the case. It used to be Orchid on Wex and Midas on Exort, but now I feel like I've seen a shift where we see at least 50% of the time Wex Invokers still go for the hand of Midas, just because there's even more reason to focus on late game progression.
Radiant's
The
bottom
level
tower
25
has fallen.
Deafening Blast AoE, the Aghanim Scepter, which improves your spells even further. Like, Midas is even better for Invoker than it ever was before. They're double TPing this. I'm not sure about that. They'll send the Ice Blast through, but that's going to be an EMP, taking a lot of mana out of Beyond. And yeah, they just rotated all their heroes. They can't spread the map now. Like, they're forced into a position where they have to go as 5, but if CDEC just back off, they got the tier 2 last hit, and now they just get to spread with the Ember Spirit.
It's kind of scary how you're just getting all these objectives and Wings are just giving it up. But right now I think the Ancient Apparition is pretty much dead. Yep, Cold Snap's coming in. Shadow looking for the Omni Slash. It's probably not going to do much. Yep, he had the Grave and the Heal Bomb as well. Shadow is just doomed up. I think he just dies here.
He's
Or if
pretty
anything, he
fast
should be
though.
dying.
He just activated his phase boots, so he'll get his distance,
Yeah.
and they do end up wasting the Doom, but the Omni Slash in return is kind of an even cooldown, and obviously was completely inconsequential with how grouped up they were.
Nyx Assassin is just a very hard game because right now CDEC, they're playing so well around the Nyx. They don't mind the pick at all. Oh, Flame Guard, Vendetta, Mana Burn, oh, Winter's Curse!
Yeah, so he can't get the Grave either, even if he had it, which is going to be on cooldown for another 25, so just a great combo overall. They definitely knew their reach on that one with the Nyx extended stun, which he should be maxing out actually.
Just much harder. Well, let me
Look at all
on the
these
bright
sentries
side.
over here. This is just like king of the hill with these wards.
It's a tough game for supports. You always have to have sentries this game. Map control is really everything here, especially for the Nyx. And I like how CDEC, decide to move 5 mana around so that the Nyx is just useless. And as time drags on, as they take all these objectives, Nyx Assassin is just gonna be a non-factor.
Yeah, I like the stack farming though. Oftentimes you don't see Nyx really taking time for himself just to get some creep skill, but here we do see Faith taking care of a double stack, and that's going to put him very close to the blink. So just kind of taking a moment of passivity and just focusing on the farm, he's actually able to get quite a bit out of it. So I think that's a good mentality to have. We're actually going to be seeing Doom pick up the headdress here. Is he actually going to be looking at a mechanism or just something like a Vlad's?
I think a mechanism would be the
There
better
it is,
choice.
Vlad's. So,
Yeah, I should be Vlad.
decides
Okay.
it. Alright, so I mean, it's not the best to have the armor aura, just, I mean, obviously helps against the Omni Slash, but I guess the lifesteal sustain is nice, so that everybody's topped off when the Ice Blast
Radiant's
hits.
bottom tower is under attack.
And it kind of counters
kinda
out the
weird,
presence of
though.
the Dark Lord.
I mean, it's kind of weird though because, I mean, if Vlad, it's not like the Ember Spirit's gonna be man fighting anybody. He's all about that sleight of fist, the DPS with the Searing Chains and the Flame Guard, and he's just out. He's
Oh,
not
Ice
supposed to be
Blast
man
is actually complete whiff here. We're going to see Demons get graved up, so they've really accomplished nothing in the opener for Wings. Beyond's out of mana, but they did take Demons now. The Healing Ward should go down very quickly, but Shadow Fiend coming in, looking for a big Requiem here. Instead, Shadow Doom, and the SF won't accomplish anything. It's a 1-for-1 for now, but it could be a lot worse if Wings stick around. They'll take flight, they'll slip away narrowly, but still losing that Juggernaut there, just not the way they wanted that smoke to pan out.
SF needs more farm. And Inflame almost an Orchid. This is actually pretty good timing. He has a Haste Rune as well, so hopefully he gets a couple more kills. Just one more kill and he'll definitely have that Orchid. And Bien is 200 gold away from a blink. So hopefully by then, Wings can start forcing these fights more. Purely because they have...
Have you seen this
initiate.
Radiant Courier before? I've seen the baby bounty hunter. I did not know there was a baby bloodseeker. That's
Oh, that just came out, yeah. But unfortunately, that was from the compendium, I believe.
yeah. Well, there you go.
I mean, I feel the best choices to usually get these couriers is you just wait for it to come on the market.
Sure enough. Very interesting. Nyx Blink Dagger, but like I said, SF just needs more and more farm. He's actually going to go SNY here, going for the Asha. BKB obviously a great tool this game, but not an answer to everything. I guess I'll go SNY and then BKB. He still has to get the BKB.
BKB is definitely huge, especially against Invoker and Skyrath. Not getting a BKB is pretty much suicidal this game. Oh, they just want to walk up like that.
Gonna open nicely onto Ice. No spells for you. And with that, they probably just leave. Like, they walk all the way to the enemy jungle, think they can take a fight, and then they get caught out, and immediately... Oh, they don't even get the chance. Ame's going to be able to get the searing chains off on somebody. Shadow will spin. Oh, man. If they get something more out of this, then it's going to be Wings that are just losing so much. Because they spend so much time getting in position, and then they just one pickoff turns it around.
So now it's going to be a 5v5 at the bottom lane, hopefully. Which is highly unlikely. Oh wait, the stun comes down and the mana burn's going to miss completely. Cuts a shot. Can they kill the Shadow Fiend? Ice looking for the Winter's Curse. He's not going to get it. Yeah, Arctic Wind doesn't do much. And Army goes back to the top lane to split push. He already is very close to Battle Fury.
Yep. And it's going to be obviously a turning point where it's very difficult for Wings to take any objectives in a clumped up sense. Right now it's okay for them to clump. The AoE factors for CDEC are actually quite lacking. Like multiple the only thing is really the EMP that they have to spread out away from. But once the Battle Fury comes into play, they don't really get to focus down a target as heavily, and they don't get to go in that position. We're actually going to see the Orchid, but not a Searing Chains hit on Shadow. If the Searing Chains hits, I think he's dead, but instead it's just going to be beyond TPing into another EMP. I think that's the third time that's happened this game. And jumping bottom.
Alright. Yeah, Wings is just... They're just pretty much trying to secure a bit of space into their side of the map. They have a very nice aggressive observer ward over here, but it doesn't see the remnant, and I think they will try to force this T1 again. Just push at the top and go back to the T1, which should... I mean, since the creep wave is pushing in by itself, this should force at least one member of Wings Gaming back.
A lot more sentry wards in play. We've actually got 2 sentries back here. There were 2 sentries up here. Now a 3rd sentry. Oh my gosh, there's just so much. But we're going to see Beyond actually get a nice double stun here to start it off. Ice Blast going to hit hard onto Inflame. He's going to back off here and drop down below 400 HP. But no kills just yet. Looks like that'll ward them off.
Oh, but I think Wings don't want to let them go like that. Unless, of course, they decide to smoke and just get something. Oh, wait. Yep, they spot the wards.
This is ridiculous. I think that sentry on sentry both sides seeing it, but I guess it depends on which one you click. Oh, that's weird.
Wait, is it? I mean, if you see the sentry, I mean, the Radiant side sentry is...
Oh, I can see this. Oh yeah, they see it. They see it. Okay, Radiant Vision does see it. Okay.
So unfortunate.
My thanks.
Right, so hopefully we see a smoke coming out soon. I think they want to smoke. I mean, they put a sentry up there. Or actually, maybe not. Looks like they just want to keep on farming. Ami has a Battle Fury and 1,000 gold.
Yeah, so I think there was a kind of temporary game plan. Oh, mid, they're going to get the Spike Carapace early onto Ame, chaining it up with a stun and the Winter's Curse, and they will be able to bring him down. Omni Slash! Really? He was shattering for sure. There is way too much damage otherwise. There
was 3 ults.
Yeah. I liked the others, but adding in the Omni Slash, just one too many.
Oh well, I mean, this is pretty much why they picked the Nyx to counter the Ember Spirit. Punish him for being alone.
Yeah.
And this T1, actually I'm surprised the Wings didn't deny it. It's at 73 HP.
Now it's dead, and I feel like they're just going to go to another tier 2 now, because they got the Ember Spirit BOTs, and they know the Wyvern ulti's down, as well as the Omni Slash. Those 2 spells signal pretty much an auto win for every team fight for the next 80 seconds, so CDEC should look to press that bottom lane. But for now, they're just backing off. They took care of the wards. I think they're actually trying to bait a D ward over there. They were ready to pounce if somebody went for it. And then when they saw that wasn't happening, they're like, oh, they must have done something for Roche. So they go ahead and scout that out. And it ends up being neither. It's just Wings being tentative. So in the end, map control and ward dominance in favor of CDEC. They'll go for the smoke play while Ame pushes top. I think they should be able to find a Shadow Fiend in mid.
Probably, but no, he's just gonna dodge it. And he actually did go for the BKB. He went for the Sanj and Yasha first.
Yeah. I saw the Yasha come out, and I figured he would at least finish the SMY, but I still think BKB's next.
It's a necessity, whether he likes it or not. especially against all that magic damage.
Oh, they're gonna see him in time. Smoke broke. They don't see anybody right now. The Nyx broke it, and they barely got the concussive off onto SF. Can June actually close in? He gets the Doom, but Ice is here, slowing him down. There's 2 spells against him, and he just can't stay on target. He's gonna be right click down. It's gonna be the Orchid, EMP onto Wyvern. He'll go down. But in the meantime, they lost the Doom. Now Ember Spirit in a really awkward position. Can he get out with the Remnant to the pit? Will be sufficient. And even catches out the Nyx Assassin. Gets double stunned though. Has to keep running as fast as he can. He'll be okay, but they do take the Nyx and the Wyvern. Shadow looking for that Omni Slash instead. Gets Orchid cold snapped, but Inflame is not too confident in position anymore and has to keep his distance. Shadow, no healing ward, just the magic wand. And the EMP is not going to, or sorry, just the Tornado is going to catch him out. Now EMP follows, and Shadow Fiend will be able to walk his way away. So, all in all, a effective confrontation, but nothing conclusive.
That's probably one of the most awkward fights I've seen in a while. No one really died about it. Oh wait, they're gonna smoke the Roshan. Wings gonna sneak this right under CDEC's noses, and CDEC have no idea this is going on unless do they try for the weave?
Yep, there it is.
There we go.
This is dangerous now. I think they abandoned ship. Just drop an Ice Vortex and run for the hills. But at the same time, they've left 2. The other 2 are still in the pit. They're gonna try to get a good Winter's Curse in this and try to finish it off. Oh, Roche Bash! The Bash comes through the Tornado as well. They're caught in the pit. Inflame though, Ice blasted up, will be shattering after the Shallow Grave is done. SF still has the mana to cast out a few more spells here, and he picked up the Aegis. They took Roshan, so they get the Invoker for the AA, and now with a Blink Stun, it looks like Doom's in some real trouble here. No Scorched Earth, so no Carapace Stun, but one Omni Slash could still allow them to pursue, but no, they fall back. They've gotten what they wanted there. They narrowly take Roche. Despite an unlucky series of events, the Winter's Curse and the Ice Blast are enough to keep CDEC at bay.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Alright, so now you can see Ame is going to complete the Battle Fury, Nyx Adam to Daedalus, and by then, well, Wings will have a lot more trouble fighting against CDEC because of the Sleight of Fist. He's going to do a lot more damage, and I think they don't want to give this up. There is a Doom available, and the Frost Armor. So, yeah. June's probably going to go for a BKB of his own as well. Unless he goes for Halberd, which is unlikely.
No, we don't see those that often. Maybe as often as we should, but it seems unlikely that he'll go for that. Academ's is still really strong, though, so I wouldn't count that out. Like, your target, the Shadow Fiend, he's got S and Y, so he can move pretty quickly. And keep his distance, but you're still going to get a few extra seconds of the Doom, and it's going to, of course, do a lot of damage. So, all in all, I would still say that the Aghanim Scepter could be quite effective, but the BKB is not bad.
Not that cost efficient still. And actually, oh, he tried for the Searing Chains. Shadow's just going to play around with him, and he's just going to ram him back to the middle lane. So, yeah, I think they want to take the top T1. Take a few more objectives and open up the map a bit more. Wings Gaming, they need more towers. In the gold graph, I mean, the advantage is not that big for CDEC. They realize that they're falling behind, so they need to pull up by farming instead of defending the tower and just taking these fights which they have been losing so far.
Yeah, Inflame's trying to find a quick pick, but it looks like that's not going to be available to him. They're just going to go for a standard push. Yeah, I think BKB makes a little bit more sense with the fact that June is going for this Aura build. He's already got the Vlads, the drums. By late game, he'll have an AC. If you pop the BKB, you can just stay in the fight a lot longer and keep those auras in play. I should say Shadow Fiend in a bad position here. He does have an Aegis, though. Oh, walking into some trouble. He is actually very vulnerable, but they don't really know it.
Top tower is under attack.
I think he sensed the danger. He's like, oh, dark corner, don't dare to go, don't have any vision. In the bottom half of the map, if you look at the map from center part down, it's pretty much all covered with green. All those sentry wards everywhere placed by CDEC.
Yeah. But still, that map advantage really hasn't given them the edge and kind of taking opportunities. Like that SF definitely could have been at least losing his Aegis there without a big confrontation, but they have vision on their side of the map. They don't, and so they're good to the Nyx's initiation. They can counter initiate on him, but they can't actually find opportunities on the Shadow Fiend. Mostly down to luck, the fact that they didn't find him with the Invoker roaming in. But Doom does have the BKB. Ame looking for some Battle Fury Cleave. The Manta's now up for the Juggernaut too. It's not easy to find this opening,
Radiant structures
especially against
are
that Winter's
fortified.
Curse on the flank.
Radiant's middle tower is
It
under
is, it
attack.
is. So, they're just gonna go for the Doom, but June's gonna be cancelled immediately by the Winter's Curse. Requiem of Souls comes up with the Grave when he's gonna prolong the Inevitable. And actually he goes to pop his BKB, but Ancient Apparition, yep, is gonna kill off the Doom, shattering him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he didn't notice that he was Ice Blasted, but there's no way the BKB would get him out of that. He's gonna shatter. So unless you're
Radiant's middle
just
tower
trying to
has
prevent
fallen.
something like a stun stopping you from casting your Doom, the BKB is useless, and that's his 10-second. He actually was mid-animation for his Doom when he got Winter's Curse, so that was just a great positioning for Ice. So stalking in the tree line, ready to go. That was very preemptive and very well planned out.
The Manta style as well from the Jug could have cancelled. I'm not sure which one it was. Ember Spirit get out just in the nick of time. Game is hard. Now it's suddenly very close. What looked like CDEC, you know, having a very clear advantage, just all gone because of one bad fight. Oops. Alright, so Inflame, gonna ghost walk around, look for a kill. Or just do a bit of reconnaissance. He's just scouting out the jungle. He's not gonna find anybody. Damon's just pretty much waiting in the trees, and Ami is just gonna farm. He's got his Crystallis, making his way towards that Daedalus. Do they smoke? Nah, just farm.
Yeah, for right
And
now,
Aegis
there's
is
no
reclaimed.
reason not to just farm it up. The Aegis is not going to be a factor anymore, so right now, just kind of building themselves up to the next tier. We actually have a gem on the Invoker. You get it purchased from him by the Skywrath Mage, so that's an opportunity where maybe he crosses paths with the Nyx, and he knows about it before the Nyx does, which gives him a nice upper hand. Oh, Ice Blast across the top. Is that going to see demons? Doesn't look like it. Looks like he's in a perfect spot in terms of Fog of War, just to keep camping out and waiting. With this lane ward and the ability for the Ember Spirit to just BOT to the wave, there's a chance they can go for just a 2v1 kill. But for now, Inflame, he's looking for that solo pick-off in a place where everybody just was. But again, he's just not finding it at the right time, so he doesn't get any information.
Inflame, this is very different compared to the past few games which we've watched him play, because usually he's having all that impact, but this time, being a Quasrex Invoker where you're looking for pickoffs, he's not getting any opening at all.
Yeah, and it's not like he can just bide his time and wait for a Midas to kick in. He really needs to make use of these items. Force Staff, Orchid, great utility, great potential for fights, but so far his KDA 2, 2, and 3. He's been looking for opportunities for the past 10 minutes and has not found a damn thing. So, right now, SF is the target that he was looking for, but it's 30 seconds later than when he was just roaming the jungle. It's just unfortunate timing from him. It actually comes down to just straight luck, but...
Look at Bien. He's trying so desperately to proc the Spike Carapace onto Ame.
And, Blink BKB for the SF. Requiem should be a pretty critical spell to cast now. Beyond that, though, is there really any major progression for CDEC Young Youth? They have the Crystallis Daedalus progression for Ember Spirit, great, but I don't really see any major items coming out for the Radiant for a while. The Dazzle does have 1800 gold, that's probably the only exception to that, but I'm not even sure what he would buy at this point. A Glimmer Cape, a Force Staff?
Double damage.
Ancient Apparition, he's gonna make his way towards eggs as usual. Glimmer Cape or Blink would be a very good idea on the Winter Wyvern. A Blink on the Juggernaut would be pretty decent as well, purely because he has the Battle Fury, so if he blinks to the right target, he can do a lot of damage with the Omni Slash. It's something which Burning goes for, and I think this is what most Juggernauts in China tend to itemize towards too. Oh, he finds the Remnant.
Yeah, but I don't think that the Ember Spirit's really going to try to go... It's the same situation as before, where, yeah, you're right on the Remnant, you could possibly get an opportunity there, but much more likely the Ember Spirit doesn't bother because he sees enemies in that area. And
Oh, you can just hope.
Is that a Lincoln's or a Scotty for the Juggernaut? Obviously, Lincoln's is great against Doom, but could just as easily be popped by an Arcane Bolt, so... hard to say.
Could be a Lincoln's.
Radiant's
Because sometimes when you're in those kind of situations, you just have to decide. So you either choose to Doom like the SF, and Juggernaut can afford to go free flow over everybody else. I mean, even if the Doom doesn't go on the Juggernaut, he can always put it on the SF, just playing mind games whiff the Doom, making him very, very indecisive.
So, just a lot of passivity recently. Like, if you look at the boxes on the graphs and how many kills have happened this game, none of them have been anywhere near the past 5 to 6 minutes. It's been just a farm fest for both sides. And I feel like that favors Wings. They very clearly have items that they can go and can progress towards that will improve their gameplay. The gem is now on Ice. The Aghanim Scepter, when AA gets that, is going to be great. We already talked about the Ultimate Orb before, the Juggernaut, and what he could go with that. And then I'm still all for this Aghanim Scepter on Nyx. I feel the most recent buff that it got, makes it pretty much a core item on the hero.
I don't think it's passivity, it's more like they just, I mean, I guess, okay, yeah, it is, but I mean, another way of calling it would just be discipline, because these teams just be dodging the fights, but are too late. You see everything. Goodbye, June.
Yeah, he's going to try to turn it with the BKB Doom, but Demons is keeping out at the same time, and he's going to get hit by the Wyvern ulti, so they're actually going to get absolutely nothing out of this. They lose the Doom, they lose 2 heroes, and that's just a ticket to the tier 2s for Wings. They're actually going to be taking a ton of momentum this game off of this. The Ember Spirit's going to try to farm as best he can up top, or on the bottom, sorry, and try to push that out. He'll force exactly 1 TP back, but actually the Carapace play, they might be able to kill him off. They kill enough creeps that they could just right-click him down. No problem at all. Then you have to pop the Manta style to kill that squishy Ember. A great chain stun there from the Nyx, just blinking in with the Carapace. And I guess one thing I'll mention is, one great thing about the Aghanim Scepter is you can get a melee range stun with your Carapace, but Nyx against the Ember does that every time anyways, because for some reason Ame keeps using his Flame Guard. And I feel like before Battle Fury, of course you use your Flame Guard, but now that you have your Battle Fury and you've been killed like 3 different times by a Nyx by Carapace, you probably want to stop doing that.
Yeah, this is pretty much what you call learn from your lesson, but in this case, he's definitely not learning at all.
And now Roche is absolutely free. Wings are taking the Aegis, they've taken all the outer tier 2s, and they are just going to be dominating the map now. Now there's still a gem on both sides, but I feel like Ice just has more room to move around and make use of his.
Ice should be saving for a blink. He has 1,500 gold. He's not buying like Shadow Amulet. So this way, things are going to be very, very difficult for CDEC. Inflames just pretty much had no impact. And I think at this point you would probably try to transition towards the cross exort invoker. You probably have more luck and more impact that way.
Oh yeah, he's not going to max the quads now. It's 4 quads pretty much for the rest of the game. It's generally how you're going to run it. So he'll work on his meteors now and see what he can do with that. I actually love the wards coming from CDEC though. The anti-gem wards. You get 1 on the top rune spawn. That won't be scouted out unless there's high-level vision or clear vision, and the same thing towards, I guess, the middle of the map. It's another really strong one from the Radiant Jungle. So you have to like Ice Vortex those spots, or Arctic Burn over there. You have to be very deliberate in your scouting of them. You just don't happen upon them.
Ember just picked up his Daedalus. They're gonna smoke, and oh, this is gonna be pretty big. They have 2 pickoffs at the top lane, but looks like they won't go there.
Well, the SF has Aegis, so like that pickoff doesn't matter as much as like finding the Nyx assassin here. But he blinks out just in time. Oh man, that doesn't even work out for CDEC.
The worst case scenario just happened. I mean, what could have gone wrong? Just went wrong.
And they'll clean up the ward as well. They say, okay, well if they're stalking around there confidently, they might have vision. Indeed, they did.
Alright, so for now, what can CDEC do to come back in this game? I mean, they tried to smoke. There was the desperate play. It really didn't work out. So, Inflame's just going to Ghost Walk and have a tour on the map again.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be worried about that gem a little bit. The thing is, like, BKB TP or BKB Runaway is not going to be the full disengage because obviously the Wyvern is there with the Curse and he's happy to use it just to get the Invoker kill. So it is going to be just complete map domination. They don't need to break high ground. All they need to do is just contain CDEC, get the resource advantage, and continue to build up their cores. Butterfly, I thought I just saw it come up for... Oh no, it came up for the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend has Butterfly, Juggernaut almost has it.
but no MKB in sight for the Radiant side. It's just really, really hard. And now that they have no choice but to turtle on the base. And it's not like Ami has any more places to farm besides maybe the bottom lane. But he has to be so careful right now because of the Nyx Assassin, the potential gank and pick off. And he doesn't want to be feeding that away. He does want that buyback. EMP combo comes down. Oh, actually he's going to be forced staff into the base!
Oh,
And the SF is going to be forced back out. Oh, okay, but he still has the Aegis, it's fine.
Yeah, and the healing word will bring him up too, so you can just use the last of the Sages to just siege on the tier 3. You won't have any spells to bring to the fight, but he'll be happy just to put some hits in for free, and then come back swinging with the blink.
I mean, I would think he would actually be happy to die in there. Because he was so low, but oh well, so I mean, yeah, we just see how this goes. And the same thing comes out in an EMP combo, and he just get force staff out. So back to another stalemate. Wings are just gonna back off, and by that time probably just
Do they, though?
starve.
I mean, they just forced the glyph. This is going to be a few minutes, 5-minute window where they obviously don't have to worry about that factor, and they know that the Aegis is going to be expiring within the next minute or so. So they really do want to force the issue here. Now, taking the tier 3, Shadow going to spin to bring it down, and now it's only Shadow Fiend on the high ground, which is the best position, because now if they try to clump up hard on him and focus him down, the Requiem or the Winter's Curse comes out, and they'll be able to turn that fight. So they just keep on topping off Shadow Fiend. They know the Roche timer pretty well, so they should know that the Sage is gone in 40 seconds, and they'll go for one last hurrah to the high ground. CDEC have to repel quickly, but no, it's going to be the blink on the Invoker. Big nukes coming out. He dies very quickly, and June doesn't even get the Doom off. That might be the game-winning jump there from Wings, as these two heroes cannot buy back. They drop the gem as well. That's picked up by Beyond as they make their escape, taking the mid lane of Rex and wanting to force more. They say, okay, well, we used our ultimates, but we're gonna at least force a buyback, and obviously, as we can see from our spectator point of view, they don't even have that option. So, while the Aegis is still intact on SF, they're confidently taking the tier 3s, and they're looking for the Rax as well. Range Rax? No. That's all for them. They're good enough with that since the Aegis is finally reclaimed. No? Okay. Well, full HP, full mana, Shadow Fiend's ready to go, and they're gonna go onto both barracks, as now there's no way that CDEC have buybacks, and they know it.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
Yeah, they're perfectly happy with this. Oh, he actually catches 2. But
that's not a fight they want to
go.
take anyways. Like, the Invoker's still not up yet.
And Wings have the high ground. Okay, not anymore, but...
Oh,
he's gonna come, he's gonna proc!
Oh
wow,
my gosh.
it's a Ravage!
Beautiful chain stun up again from the Nyx Assassin. They'll follow it up with the Ice Blast and Shatter June as soon as the Grave expires. If Implane goes down, that's actually just GG. He's getting right-clicked hard, down to 200 HP, tries to ghost away, will get away. But look how little this Shadow Fiend cares about the Doom. He just shrugs off that damage, and that's GG. Great performance from Wings. They played very disciplined, as you mentioned. There's just so few kills in the past 15 minutes of play. The boxes just disappear for a while, and that's because essentially every time the Invoker roamed in, he didn't find an opportunity. They had dodged away from the jungle whenever it wasn't safe. Wings build up their advantage, and with the Roshan, with the Aegis, bring down CDEC in what is the beginning of a potential huge upset here. I mean, there were times a few days back where it looked like Wings would be eliminated from the tournament early, and yet here they stand, going up 1-0 over CDEC.Y in this best of 3.
Yeah, the Nyx was definitely the MVP. You can see here he's 3-2 and 11. He was basically involved in 75% of all the kills which Wings had. CDEC, they were just shut down, and the Invoker had, they did the best. I mean, at first they had the lead, but afterwards, I mean, the Nyx really made such a huge impact catching the Ember Spirit, so he couldn't even farm. He didn't feel safe, and that's when they started to play more passive. And because of that passivity played by CDEC, they really paid for it towards the late game, and that's where the Shadow Fiend just maxed out despite having a pretty quiet early game. So otherwise, I think we're going to game 2.
Absolutely. A great play from Wings, just really good usage of their cores, their ultimates, everything just synced up so well for them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring to game 2. Of course, with them being the favorite CDEC youth, they are going to be swinging back hard too, so it could be anybody's game going into game 2, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks once again for tuning in here to Star Ladder I-League China. This is once again what we can kind of consider the grand final. Since the upper bracket has been completely decided, we now have the lower bracket final to decide the last spot for the LAN, and we'll be seeing the teams clash for game 2 of the best of 3, and